In today's episode, we're going to discover what Bitcoin is. Is it a payment system? Is it digital gold? Is it neither? Is it both? What can it become? There's a fiery debate going on once again between Jack Dorsey on one side, who says that payments, if Bitcoin doesn't help them out, it will fail. Whereas Michael Saylor is going to burn all his keys because apparently that's what you do with digital gold. Stay tuned. Welcome in to another episode of Chainspotting, where I read, review, comment, and analyze the main stuff that's going on in Bitcoin, crypto, finance, and the digital economy. Today I'm going to go back into another one of my stories because I know that you couldn't get enough of it last week. So, again, this is DL News. That's where I work for. Brilliant stuff. Of course, although I am a bit biased. That's weird. But it's weirder that you haven't hired BitWriters, your Bitcoin-focused ghostwriting agency. They've got over 6 years' experience building up blogs, newsletters, and educational email courses. Because not your email, not your audience, not your customers. Link in the description below. Jack Dorsey says Bitcoin will fail if it's just a store of value. Michael Saylor couldn't disagree more. For years, Bitcoin advocates have tossed and turned over just what precisely was the system's top use case. Is it digital gold, a new online payment system, or just another risk-on asset? Things got hot and spicy when Block CEO Jack Dorsey stoked that fire once again this month when he suggested that Bitcoin is doomed if it becomes nothing more than a speculative asset. I quote, "If it just ends up being a store of value and nothing more, I don't think it gains relevance at all," he said on a BitcoinNews.com podcast. "It has to be payments for it to be relevant." What do you think? Is Bitcoin, to be honest, I think Bitcoin is already successful. It allows for people to hold and send an inconfiscatable, censorship-resistant money anywhere in the world. You can argue about the price, inflation hedge, or better than real estate, or whether it's better than gold, all that sort of stuff. But the ultimate claim to fame is that it's an inconfiscatable if you hold it in self-custodial stuff or wallets, and it's censorship resistant. And it offers that optionality. It's there if you want it. Voluntary. Don't forget. So this is obviously a debate that's been going on for years in Bitcoin. What is it actually for? Because, yeah, people say that it's meant to be a digital payment system. It's meant to be used. Other people say it's just digital gold. That's the narrative that won after the block size war of 2017. And then there's also the argument of whether this is just the first transition. First, a money has to be a store of value before it becomes medium of exchange and before it becomes unit of account. It may be a little surprising that Dorsey makes this argument given that Block, formerly known as Square, is a fintech company that processes point-of-sale payments and plans to integrate Bitcoin payments into its model. He caught a lot of flack because Square or Block has yet to integrate Bitcoin payments. And so if you go around touting that it has to be digital money or digital payments, but you don't add it into your system, well, there's a bit of a contradiction there, my old man Jack. Yet, Dorsey's views carry great weight in the crypto world because he twigged onto Bitcoin at the dawn of the blockchain era and has been a staunch and thoughtful advocate of the top cryptocurrency ever since. Indeed, just a few weeks ago, Dorsey was tagged as Satoshi Nakamoto, Bitcoin's mysterious creator, which he has long denied. I saw this parade around my timeline. I didn't take too much account. I'm not very interested in Satoshi's identity. There's a reason why he, they, she, use whatever pronoun you want, decided to remain mysterious, decided to remain anonymous. Leave them in peace, for they have already gifted the world with an incredible invention. Jack has a point, said Eli Nagar, CEO of mining firm Brains. He's highlighting an important concern.
if Bitcoin ends up purely as a passive store of value without meaningful on-chain usage, it risks weakening the incentive structure that secures its network long-term, he told DL News, aka me. But there's a big issue right now because over the last several weeks, Bitcoin's network has been processing historically low transaction volumes. A full block, which includes the set of transactions that occurred in the last 10 minutes on average, will usually comprise anywhere from 2,000 to 3,000 transactions. But these days, blocks with less than 1,000 transactions have become commonplace. Scant activity, very little activity, existential threat, just saying. Just as Tuesday, this was last week, one block had 55 transactions while others showed 123, 324, and 423 transactions according to mempool.space. I remember when I was researching the story, one block had one transaction. No bueno, because for those of you that don't know, miners, which underlie the entire Bitcoin security, need to get paid. If it's not in block subsidies, which is the network giving a certain amount of Bitcoin for every block they create, it's network fees, transaction fees. So if we don't use it, what's going to happen down the line? There's voices about inflation, amplifying or expanding the total supply. But maybe here's another thought. Why don't we use it? Just an idea. Just a random guy. According to Jameson Lopp, CTO of crypto custodian Casa, there are three reasons behind the lack of usage. Tax accounting requirements on purchases, the inconvenience of using it for ordinary transactions, plus nobody wants to be the pizza guy. I spoke to Lopp about this. Like he said, this is a debate that's been long out there for a while. He's a big fan of Roy Shenfield's view. He's the founder of Breeze, a wallet. This is just the first stage. First, it's store of value, and it has to be store of value before it becomes a medium of exchange. But when it comes to the pizza guy, Lopp is referring to Laszlo Hanyek, one of Bitcoin's first users who famously bought 2 pizzas for 10,000 Bitcoin back in 2010. Those pizzas are now worth upwards of 800 million. So why would anyone spend Bitcoin on anything? According to software engineer Nicholas Gregory, the day of reckoning is approaching fast. Doomsday mongers, the ones who say that it will all fall apart, are breathing and walking the streets around us, standing on empty boxes, on the side of the street, on the corners without a coffee but cold tea, screaming out, empty fucking blocks. At some point, I hope Bitcoiners realize this space is more than just podcasts. X spaces and the number go up digital gold narrative. If we don't get people using Bitcoin for real commerce, it's game over. Now, Bitcoin doesn't get used that much because the digital gold narrative has been firmly installed into the people's mindset. Digital gold, aka why are you going to spend it if it's going to go up in value? I understand that, but if you're an ideologue or an idealist, then why not spend it and start creating a circular Bitcoin economy where we can start to take power away from the everyday masters like MasterCard and Visa and the big banks and all that sort of jazz. Whoops.
Now would be a good time for you to subscribe.
But on the other side, in the other corner, weighing in at an undetermined weight and an undetermined height, because I've never met him and I haven't actually looked into it, we have Bitcoin champion Michael Saylor, the executive chairman of the formerly known company of MicroStrategy, now Strategy, and relentless Bitcoin bull. Under his guidance, the company once known as MicroStrategy has acquired a whopping 428,185,000 Bitcoin, which are now worth $41 billion. It's not currency, it's capital, Saylor said in a December 2024 episode of the Galaxy Digital podcast. And he criticized those who shared Dorsey's view about the need for Bitcoin to be a form of payment. There's a lot of maxis are out there who we want it to be a currency. We want to be able to pay for our coffee with Bitcoin. Pay me in Bitcoin, he said. It's like pay me in gold, pay me in a building, pay me with a slice of your professional sports team, pay me with a Picasso. Actually, I'd accept a Picasso as a form of payment. I mean, I've definitely heard or have been paid back in worse ways than a Picasso. Saylor has infamously said that he will burn the keys to his personal stash of more than 17,000 Bitcoin worth 1.3 billion when he passes away. This caught also fire around the timeline. I don't know how much it got to actually Saylor's ears, but like, I mean, that's a lot of money that can be used to Bitcoin Core products or services or contributors, Bitcoin mining, Bitcoin education, Bitcoin schools, libraries, podcasts, all that sort of stuff. Burning it away and calling it a gift to the network and to everybody who holds it. I understand the argument. I disagree. I don't think that's a good idea. But there's people on Saylor's side, many influential ones, including U.S. Senator Cynthia Lummis, who has been pushing a bill that would establish a U.S. Bitcoin strategic reserve. I spend dollars and save Bitcoin, she said recently. Now, this debate is bound to intensify in the months to come. Many investors who first bought Bitcoin via the ETFs may be jarred by its volatility as Donald Trump's tariffs rattle capital markets. Many others might be startled to learn that for all its professed exceptionalism, Bitcoin, unfortunately or fortunately, moves in tandem with stocks, which tend to have far less volatility and represent something tangible, although not so intangible, which are stocks in a public company. For the Michael Saylors of the world, this is all normal. This is what you should expect. This is what you will get. This is what we should want. It's how Bitcoin, which has multiplied in value 11 times in the past 5 years, performs. So get used to it, motherfucker. I don't know why I said it like that, but get used to it, motherfucker. That's the hours upon hours of George Carlin that I've watched, where he takes the piss out of white Americans and whatever they want to believe in or think of. It's also mixed in or sprinkled in, I like to believe, with Dave Chappelle. And I actually think that, and I'm going to go on a small sneaky tangent here because it's my podcast. Dave Chappelle is old Dave Chappelle, young Dave Chappelle is one of the best comedians of all time, which makes sense because he's going to get out there. But I don't think I've ever laughed as much as I have with old Dave Chappelle imitating whites people in general. Funniest fucking thing ever. Meanwhile, for the Jack Dorseys of the world, just saving your Bitcoin and never spending it is just not good enough. The most profound breakthrough in financial technology this century should do more than behave like a turbocharged tech stock. I say to conclude that argument, and I stand by it. I understand the speculative side of things and not wanting to spend it and hodling until you want to burn your keys or do whatever, but is that how we're actually going to change things around here? Is that actually how we're going to create an alternative financial system, take power away from the elites, take power away from the banking system, make things hopefully change, create some sort of, I'm going to say different world. I don't want to become like a techno optimist or a utopian because I'm not necessarily. I do believe that Bitcoin is a brilliant opportunity, but if we don't use it for payments, then it's going to be tough. And there's also a chicken and an egg sort of thing because it's, and this is a conversation that I've had a lot. Is Bitcoin not used for payments because people don't want to pay with it or because merchants don't want to accept it? Who comes first? The people who accept it as payment and then keep it and try to pay for their providers or their suppliers in Bitcoin? Or is it you and I who try to go out there and try to pay and spend and say, hey, I want to buy this water bottle with Bitcoin or this pencil with Bitcoin? I don't really know. I'm just a guy with just another fucking podcast. But it's an interesting debate. And I find it interesting that the heavyweights also get involved. And you all know what my stance is on Michael Saylor. Jack Dorsey, I also have my reservations. Surveillance capitalism and the all-ever-encompassing power of the algorithm. Yet, I do think that he raises a decent point right now. Do I know if Bitcoin's going to fail by not becoming a payment system? I don't know. I do think that we're facing existential threats by not using the network enough. I do think that it's becoming a very sterile system by only hodling. I do think it's low-key embarrassing that Michael Saylor is one of the biggest spokesperson. I've always thought this. We changed Andreas Antonopoulos for Michael Saylor, and I don't know if we're aware of that, and I don't know if the damage that we've done is reversible or what it is. But yeah, there's that. If you want to spend your Bitcoin, spend it. If you want to save your Bitcoin, save it. Honestly, do whatever you want. That's the whole point of this. I'm not here to force you or to try to change your mind. I'm here to give what I think is an interesting article, a second chance of reading and analyzing and commenting, but also at putting all these things on the table because it's things that we should be thinking about. Should we be using Bitcoin more or should we not? Let me know in the comments when was the last time you spent your Bitcoin and on what you spend it. And until then, I'll read you later.